Welcome to TV20 Sports Classics. I'm your host, Christian Patterson. The City of Cleveland's government access station has been covering recreational sports events for over 20 years. There have been some amazing games and even a few surprises along the way. We here at TV20 would like to take a look back at some of these memorable events. So sit back and enjoy TV20 Classic Sports. We hope you enjoy.
Welcome to Fairfax Recreation Center, where CLV TV35 Sports is bringing you the City of Cleveland Division of Recreation All-Star Basketball games in the junior divisions. Hi, I'm Adam Mendoza along with Tim Wells. We'll be bringing you all the action of today's ball games. And Tim, we've got a number of ball games with some talented youths from around the City of Cleveland.
Yeah, there's been over 1,000 kids that have been involved in the programs at the recreation centers for the youth basketball, and we're going to see 3 games tonight. The first one's going to be the junior boys division, which are boys 14 and under. And out of that classification, there was over 400 youngsters. These players were selected as all-stars and representatives from each and every recreation center.
Plus, we've got a number of other games. We'll have one girls game and also a midget game, which ought to be entertaining. If you haven't seen any of the division of the City of Cleveland Division Recreation basketball games, you're in for a treat this afternoon.
One of the things that we're going to see is some of the rules. That is, there's going to be 5 different kids in the first 7 minutes of the first half. Another 5 will be in the next 7. Also, we put in some rules for development of the players because we want to prepare them for high school ranks. You're going to see them playing man-to-man defense in the first half.
Many teams in the area, they don't play those zones as much, and a lot of kids, even from the younger, they're learning how to play the man-to-man defense now.
Well, truthfully, we brought it in, and in the pregame show, you know, we met Coach Walt Killiam and Tim Schmatzer, and we asked them, what are some of the things that we can do in recreation to prepare our kids? And Coach Schmatzer is an integral part that made us come to that philosophy. Let's start having the kids learn man-to-man defense so they learn to move their feet and do the proper fundamentals.
We talk about some of the rules. What are some of the other rules? You have a number of substitutions in the first half. Both teams play man-to-man. What are some of the other rules that our viewers will be seeing this evening?
Well, one of the things is that a lot of the kids, number one, they'll be mandated to play. We're going to be having a running clock, so the clock will be constantly running. They'll be stopping on free throws. The last 2 minutes of each half, the clock will stop. Also, in the second half, the coach will have the freedom to kind of run the team the way he wants. So then we're going to get into maybe some zone, some man-to-man. But right now what will happen is each team has 14 players here tonight. So the coaches will make some substitutions in the first half with 4 of those guys that were not scheduled in that first 5 group to play. Doesn't mean that they weren't one of those 5. It's just the coaches only had one practice to bring the kids together, so they're not quite sure what they have.
Truly an all-star type of basketball. You'll see a lot of individual efforts in these ball games tonight, and but it's not just basketball. There's other things that we'll be talking about as the broadcast continues. We'll talk about the recreation department in the City of Cleveland and some other programs that happen. It's an all-year-round program.
One of the things that we want to cover right now is our referees for tonight are also recreation instructors. On the left, you're going to see Buddy King from Central Recreation. He's a rec instructor for numerous years, done some coaching. These are certified officials. On the right, Joe Yee from Kavasic Recreation. Those are our officials for tonight's game.
And when we come back, we will have the starting lineups, the national anthem, and also pregame ceremonies. You're watching the Division of Recreation All-Star Basketball game here on TV35 Sports.
I tell you, LC, you got to be real tough and smart in order to be a champion in this United States.
No, you don't, man. To be a champion in the ring, man, all you need is a little muscle, man.
That's Ooh, man, you're both right just a little bit. You got to be just chilling. The Macho Man, Randy Savage, with my friend, we're all telling you 2 things. Stay in school and say no to drugs. Am I right?
That's right.
Am I right?
You're right.
Oh, yeah, dig it.
trimmed with gold. Number 40, McCare Bradley. Wearing number 14, Larry Ellington from from Central Rec. Wearing number 22 from Sterling, Michael Atkins. Wearing number 24 from Clark, Jose Galendez. Wearing number 34 from Clark, Nathan. Wearing number 44 from Estabrook, Marshall Dillon. Wearing number 12 from Estabrook, Frankie Santana. And wearing number 30 from Kavasic, Robert Orishai. And now your starters. Wearing number 54 from Cadell at guard, James Hatton. From Cadell, wearing number 50, forward, Frank Stump. Wearing number 20 from Central, Michael Stropshire. Number 5 from Central, Charles Williams at the point. And wearing number 52 from Sterling, Evan McDavid. The national team is coached by Sam Woodfolk from Cadell Rec and assisted by Ed Santiago from Clark. The American team, wearing the black trimmed with white. Wearing number 33 from Glenville, Larry Reed. Wearing number 41, also from Glenville, Melvin McLaurin. Number 25 from Hamilton, Jerry Johnson. Wearing number 23 from Corey, Jordan Simmons. Wearing number 31 from Burton, Charles Bigsby. Wearing number 21 from Burton, Michael Carter. Wearing number 35 from Lonnie Burton, Don Johnson. And number 51 from Marshall, Calvin Love. And now your starters for the American team. Starting at guard, number 45 from Corey, Jason Floyd. Wearing number 43 from Corey, Tavares Bolden. At forward, number 10, Ian Schultz. Wearing number 13 from Fairfax, James Taylor. And starting at guard from Kennedy, number 15, Craig Hubbard. The American team is coached by Sam Gisentainer from Woodland and assisted by Jamal Roan from Glenville. Today's national anthem will be sung by Ellen Laurie. Troop Pack 983 from Mount Olive Baptist Church will be accompanied.
Miss Ellen Lowry from Alexander Hamilton, a recreations instructor, did us our honors here with the national anthem, as well as presenting the flags. We're Troop Pack 983. They're from Mount Olive Baptist Church over by Alexander Hamilton Recreation Center.
A fine job to kick off the festivities for this all-star basketball game. A series of games here on TV35 Sports. Adam Mendoza along with Tim Wells. We'll be bringing you all the action of the 3 ball games. This one coming up is the American versus the National. It's the junior boys game, and starting lineups for the American team, Jason Floyd and Craig Hubbard will be out at the guards. Tavares Bolden and Ian Schultz at the forwards, and James Taylor at the center for the American team. They are in black. For the national team, James Hatton and Frank Stumps will be up at the guards. Mark Shropshire and Charles Williams, point guard and forward, and Evan McDonald is the center. The national team is in green. They've got the gold numbers and lettering, and we're almost set for tip-off here for this ball game. And jumping at center will be Ian Schultz and Evan McDonald. Once again, if you're just joining us, some of the rules in this, they'll be playing 2 halves of 14 minutes each in this ball game, and talk about some of the substitutions once again, Tim.
Well, at the 7-minute mark, the scorer will stop the clock and he'll be buzzing the horn. We'll have 5 new kids come in, as well as during this first 5 minutes, there is a possibility we could have a couple other substitutions, but basically these 5 will be playing the first 7 minutes of the ball game.
We're just about ready for the tip-off of this ball game. 3 games of action here from the Fairfax Recreation Center, and it proves to be a dandy time with these young kids from around the city of Cleveland, the best talent in the city rec departments, as we're just about set for tip-off. And there you see McDonald, and as the ball is tipped up and controlled by the American team. And with the basketball is Hubbard. He'll bring it over the timeline. Man-to-man defense by both teams in this first half. They work it inside. Good pressure defense, ball stolen away, loose on the floor, and coming up with the basketball is the national team. And coming up with it is Charles Williams. He'll bring it up, the little point guard, with man-to-man pressure. They work it over to the left side. That's James Hatton with the basketball. Nice bit of ball movement, but the ball was stolen. And the ball was stolen by Hubbard, but we're going to have a foul in the backcourt. I'll make that he stepped out of bounds.
I think the official had ruled an illegal dribble. Again, you can see some of the nervousness early in the ball game.
Well, there you see the little man having the basketball, trying to get it out on top as they work it around. Nice fake inside, puts up the jumper. That one's off the back of the rim as Shropshire could not connect on the basket, but we're going to have a holding call underneath, and the ball will be turned over. So watch for that point guard position when you have Charles Williams bringing up the basketball. Very good dribbler so far. He's got the ball out on top to the left side of the circle. Now bring it around. Very good defense there by the American team. Still trying to work it inside. Good defense. He's got the ball on the outside. That's Williams. Now they get it back out to Hatton, right out on top. Shropshire inside the key, gets it back out to Hatton. Hatton nails one from the outside. So Hatton comes up with his first 2 points of the game, and it's 2-0 early on in this first half of play here at the Fairfax Recreation Center. The American team in black has the basketball, and the ball is knocked out of bounds there. Actually, a bad mishandling of the basketball by Craig Hubbard. 11:55 to go in this first half of action. Williams had the ball stolen. McDonald goes to the right side to Taylor, who lays it up off the glass. That one does not fall. McDonald gets the rebound. He taps it up and in.
Here's Ian Schultz. He is right here from Fairfax Recreation Center. It's perfect attendance in school. See the persistence on the boards.
Well, that's one of the things in these ball games. You want to have that good persistence, especially on the backboards. Tries to work the back door. The shot is up, and that one does not fall, as Stump couldn't come up with it. Nice play inside, but that didn't fall through. And here comes the American team down the floor. Nice give and go underneath, but that one's picked off. Here comes the Nationals. Drives to the lane, lays it up. That one is no good. It was partially blocked. Again, no good. But coming up with the basketball is number 43. That is Tavares Bolden. Now he gets it out the floor. They work it out to Schultz, who couldn't get the short jumper. Here we go. Both teams like to run. Going up for it. The shot, does not fall, as Mike Shropshire made a nice move to the basket but got fouled.
Well, when we talked to the coach from Central Recreation about Mike Shropshire, he said he was a complete player and that he was the MVP of the Central Recreation citywide team this past year. You can see right there his drive to the basket. He showed some quickness.
Shropshire, a 73% free throw shooter during the city playoffs, connects on the first throw. He's got 1 point on the ball game. It's a 3-2 ball game so far. Second shot is up and no good. And coming up with the rebound as the national team, or make that the American team, having the basketball, working it out on top. They worked it, trying to go to the middle, but the pass was thrown out of bounds. Charles Williams trying to get the ball underneath and threw it outside. So the national team will have it. They work it inside, turnaround jumper. That one just bounces off the rim. Second time, no good. But good battle underneath the boards. That one's tossed up. And the American team will have it. Racing to the line, dumps it off to the right side. And there you saw some good speed by number 45, Jason Floyd. Very good speed running down the court.
Well, he's one of the reasons that Corey Recreation was in the city championship game, his floor leadership and quickness.
Try to work it inside, and we're going to have a foul on the play. Both teams early on really like to run, and that's the type of ball game a lot of people like to see.
Yeah, the fast tempo, up-pace game is always favored our kids. It's more exciting.
Work it to the outside. Little man, we're going to have 3-second violation underneath. 9:04 to go in this first half of action. Floyd goes underneath. Nice give and go. The pass is good, and the shot by Hubbard is good. So Hubbard picks up his first 2 points. It's a 4-3 American lead. That's the first lead of the ballgame for them.
Yeah, the Americans have really ran into problems as far as turning over the basketball earlier in the game. They've got 6 turnovers so far. And I think once they start to learn where everybody's at on the floor, play together, we're going to see them really kind of take over here.
Well, one thing with both these teams, they haven't had a lot of time to practice. They've only had one chance to get into practice, and it shows a little bit. It's just getting that familiarity of your fellow teammates.
And that's a credit to the coaches. You know, you have one practice, you're bringing kids from all over the city together and forming into all-star teams. And, you know, the early going has shown that these kids did some fundamental work on playing defense.
Hubbard goes to Bolden from downtown, and he nails it. Tavares Bolden picks up a three-pointer. It is now a 7-3 American lead over the Nationals here. 7:50 to go in the first half. That one is up and good. The little man on the floor, Charles Williams, gets the basket. He's got 2 points, 7-5. They cut that lead down to 2. Almost losing the ball is Jason Floyd. Tried to get it in off a couple of players, and actually they got a nice bounce off the hands of their players, and that one is stolen. Here we go, down the lane, lays it up, and that one is good. With the basket is Mike Shropshire. That gives him 3 in the afternoon, and we're all tied at 7 with 7:23 to go in the first half. Drives the middle, nice give. Couldn't handle the layup. Schultz does not get the rebound and shot, but we will have a foul, and I believe that'll be on James Hatton. Or correction, Frank Stump.
Foul zone number 50, Frank
Stump, a 5'11", 14-year-old,
2 shots.
playing out of Cadell, 3rd year in the program. And at the line will be Ian Schultz. And he connects. Ian Schultz with 3 points in the ball game. Has a nice form up there with his foul shooting technique.
Yeah, he's an all-around athlete. Played in the Muni football program in the fall. And he was involved with the kicking game for Sims Raiders. They were in the championship. And during the year, I know that Fairfax had lost him where he was sick there for about a week. And it was right during the playoffs, and that hurt his team. But he is a complete athlete. What we're observing right now is the coaches making their changes. We're looking at Sam Woodfolk. He's from Cadell Recreation, the coach of the national team, setting some of the directions, getting things ready. Sam also is been around the high school scene. He played over at St. Joe High School when they were state champions. So he's been around, and we're looking at Sam Gissentanner on the other side. He's the American coach. He's at Woodland Recreation, and he also is a graduate of Chanel High School.
Two good basketball programs in the greater Cleveland area. Wholesale substitutions into the ball game. Jose Galindez with the basketball, getting some full court pressure, gets it to Atkins, tries to work it inside. Shot is taken up off the mark. And coming up with the basketball is the American team as they quickly run down. Nice give and go on the underside. That one's gonna go up, and the basket will count. Nice give and go, little circus move underneath. He got fouled and he'll go to the line.
Guy that did the scoring is Charles Bigsby, and this has been his year. Charles Bigsby took his team to the city championship this week. He was the MVP player of that game, and you can see there his quickness and athletic ability.
Bigsby getting the three-point play. Very nice shot when he drove to the lane. Now it is a 5-point lead, 12-7. Working the basketball is Galindez. That one's stolen away. Here we go once again. Bigsby steals and scores. He's got 5 very quickly off the bench. 14-7 lead for the national team. Turnover once again. Turnovers have hurt. And that time they're going to call a foul. And the foul will be on Nathan Ramos. So quickly we saw once the substitutions came in, 2 straight turnovers that let off the baskets.
Well, there's a big difference between the two teams that we have on the floor now. The American team in the black is a lot quicker. The green team is want to stay in a slow tempo game. A lot of the kids that they have in there are the big burly guys that you kind of look for. Let's keep it slow tempo, and I'm sure that this timeout called by the coach was, look, hey, let's take care of the basketball. Earlier in the ball game, it was the American team that was causing the turnovers. Now it's the national team, and I'm sure right now that's what Sam's saying. Hey, let's get the ball inside. Let's take care of the basketball. And again, you know, Adam, one of the keys to this whole program is our recreation instructors in the city of Cleveland. They do a tremendous job. This year, we've asked them to go beyond the role of just being a coach. A lot of them, to have this house leagues that we have now in all the rec centers, they have to be the referee. They got to be the league commissioner. They got to make decisions on who goes on what team. So they have stepped up this year, and the credit goes out to them.
And that's one thing. It's a learning process. The kids learn to play the game in a team environment, and it helps to prepare them for the high schools. As Bigsby, he comes up with another basket, drove the lane. He's got 7 so far, and he's only been in the ball game for about 2 minutes. So 7 points by Bigsby, and he's done the bulk of the scoring for the American team early on. Here he goes, there he steals. Dribble drive lane, loses the handle. I think he got a little bit ahead of himself as he saw open daylight to the basket.
Well, when we played the city championships, you're on a college floor at Cleveland State Woodling Gym here, probably looking for that extra footage.
Corner jumper, that one is nailed in. Number 35 making the basket, and that is Don Johnson. Averages 6 points a game during the playoffs, but that time Johnson just nailed a nice outside shot. Dribble drive to the lane, to the hole, no good, but they will go to the line. And at the free throw line for the national team will be number 24. That is Jose Galindez from Clark Recreation.
Yeah, Jose is a 9th grader at John Hay High School. He's involved in all the sports at Clark. I believe he also received the Outstanding Athlete at that rec center, where what happens is they give out an award for the kids in the most activities. So he's kind of done it all: flag football, soccer, baseball, swim team.
And a lot of these kids do a lot in the programs with the city of Cleveland.
Well, that's what we're all about. We're trying to provide some services for the teenagers, the kids, as well as adults. Come in and use the facilities. And I think more so now than the city of Cleveland, I think that's why we are the All-American city.
That's correct. Myself, a product of years back playing Class F ball at Lowe Field for a number of years, Little F and Big F, and then also playing in the Mickey Mantle leagues. So I know the value of the city of Cleveland and the rec departments. Even playing, you may not remember this, but I played when you coached against, for Our Lady of Good Counsel, you were coaching at St. Boniface.
Oh, there was.
When you had the Campbell boys.
There you go.
3:38 to go in this first half, 18-9. The American team with the basketball. McLaren tries to get it out. We've got a number of small guards out there, but they can really handle the basketball very well. Trying to getting out on top. Carter goes to the line, goes into the hoop, and that time he went strong, but he got fouled as he went to the basket. And the foul will be on Michael Atkins.
Michael Atkins. Atkins' second foul.
You see shooting at the line is Mike Carter. Again, he was with the city championship team this year from Lonnie Burton. He's one of their big guys, and he also is a 67% free throw shooter from the line during the playoffs.
Coming into the ball game for the national team is number 40, that's Makir Bradley.
Well, our early statistician, Donna Dantes, forwarded over to me that the Nationals are 7 from 11 from the field.
Very impressive there as the shot was up and good by Jordan Simmons. 21-9, big lead there for the American team in black. American team trying to extend the lead, 21-9, 2:30 to go in this first half of action. Working it inside, nice move. Simmons tried to get the shot, couldn't fall through. Rebound up and in. With the basket is Melvin McLaren. So McLaren gets into the books with his first points of the game. Long range bomb from the outside, that one misses everything. Impressed him with, when you have these kids, 13, 14-year-olds, just the style of basketball they're playing, very well coached and good, actually, the fundamentals that they've had, dribbling and going in there in the rebounding and boxing out, and a tribute to the coaches in the department. Inside jumper, that layup was up and good. Coming up with a basket was Jerry Johnson, number 25. Made a nice move inside, getting the basket. Here comes a steal. Lays it up, does not fall. Melvin McLaren got the steal, went to the hole. Couldn't get the ball to bounce from the back of the rim inside the net.
Well, Melvin McLaren is familiar in the Glenville area. He attends Glenville Recreation Center. He's an 8th grade student at Patrick Henry. He also is the 3rd leading free throw shooter in the playoffs, 71% from the line.
That one went in and out.
So far, the difference in the score seems lopsided, and I think the main reason is on the boards. The Americans have doubled them on the rebounding, 10-5 in the early going.
3rd point for McLaren, 26-9, a minute 34 to go in this first half of action. Nice dribble drive and to the hole. And the basket is good by number 24, Jose Galindez. That's his first 2 points of the contest. Stolen away, another turnover, back again, up and in. With the basket is Jerry Johnson. He's got 4 points so far in this ball game, 28-11. The American team with the lead, and we're gonna have a foul as they try to push it up the court.
Foul's on number 25, Jerry Johnson.
Jerry Johnson getting called with the foul. Minute 8 to go in this first half of action here at the Fairfax Recreation Center. Adam Mendoza along with Tim Wells, bringing you all the action of the City Department of Recreation All-Star basketball games here on TV35 Sports. The American team going to the lane, and they're just going in and just driving the hole on the baselines very easily. Once again, that one is blocked, but they're going to call the foul, and the foul will go on number 21, Michael Carter. So Carter gets called for the foul. And in the bonus situation, the American team is in the bonus situation, so anytime a foul is called, they will go to the line. Here you saw the coach for the American team trying to figure out what his team has to do.
2 shots.
Because the last couple of shots they've attempted haven't been able to fall through. A free throw attempt by Jose Galindez does not fall. Second one is up and in. So Galindez picks up his 3rd point, 28-12. Actually, those are the first couple of points that the national team has put on the board in quite some time. American team with just under 40 seconds to go, looking for another basket. That one swatted away. Coming up with the big swat, I believe, was Greg Allen. Nice defensive play. We're going to have a reach in on the side, and that foul will go on number 23. That is Jordan Simmons. 28.9 seconds to go, 28-12. The American team is out on top in this ball game. First half of action. There you see one of the little guys out there. Number of little guards in this ball game. Dribble drive baseline, gets it out on top, fakes it inside. Once again, 3 people on him, but was smart to get it outside. Shot was up and taken off by number 40. That was Makir Bradley. Couldn't find the range there, just a little bit short. Under 5 seconds to go in the first half. Trying to work that last shot, has to get it off, and that one just falls off the side of the rim. So we've completed 1/2 of play here in the junior division. The American team is out on top, 28-12. So far, your comments for this first half of action of what you've seen.
Well, you can see that the American team's a lot quicker and they're stronger on the boards, and that's been the difference in the early going.
Well, when we come back, we'll have more halftime activities as well as taking a look at the statistics. You're watching the City of Cleveland Division of Recreation All-Star Basketball Games on TV35 Sports.
Make your mama cry. Lose your best friend. Die in early death. Do you really want to be in a gang? Think about it. Peace out.
And welcome back to the Fairfax Recreation Center at halftime here. 28-12, the Americans over the Nationals. We'll now go to our halftime soloist performance. That's by Nina Baez, an 8-year-old, a 3rd grade student from Louis Pasteur School here in the city of Cleveland.
I believe that children are future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them the strength, the pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody searching for a hero. People need someone to look good to. I never found anyone who fulfilled my needs. All only place to be. So I learned to depend on. I decided long ago never to walk in any one's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. Because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me.
Baez, she's involved in the musical programs over at Cadell Recreation, and we had a pep band. Our very special guest at halftime is the Recreation Committee Councilman, Ward 4, Ken Johnson. Welcome, Councilman.
Hi, Timmy. Hi.
Councilman, a lot of people in the city of Cleveland are talking about recreation, and I know from the administration part, we're going to talk to Wayne Moss later as the commissioner, but really your role in recreation, you see it from a farther distance, but you've also been involved in recreation. Where do you see the recreation division as of today?
Well, I think it's come a long way as to what it was back in the 70s and 80s. We used to have the finest recreation division in the country. I think we're on our way back to that.
You know, we noticed out here a lot of the kids that are playing, you see them wearing all-star shirts, and that is because the Cleveland City councilmen in your area have come forward and donated the shirts to all the kids so that they can participate in an All-Star Day. And Councilman, I know that you were one that kind of spearheaded that thing, and we're hoping that you go back and send thanks to the councilmen for their support.
Yes, Timmy, I'll do that.
You know, one of the things is, I guess we can kind of go back a little bit and look, but you were a youngster that started out in the recreation centers also over at Woodland.
That's right.
Why don't you share maybe one of our fond memories of when you were a kid back in recreation?
I think one of the, well, I don't know how fond it is, but one of the, one of the memories that I have, I was on the foul line for a championship back in the early 60s. And I missed the foul shot, and we lost by 1 point. I'll never forget that.
Well, we've seen early in the first half, a lot of the kids out here have been working on their free throws. The percentage has been high. But truthfully, Councilman, it is a collective effort between City Council and administration to make things work in the city of Cleveland. And many times the phone rings at all hours of the night, Councilman, fix this, do that. It's a thankless job. And I think it's important for our viewers to understand that councilmen like Ken Johnson have been supporting recreation, trying to get things done. Maybe you can share some of the things that have gone through the legislation process to help recreation this year.
Yes, well, let me begin with 1993. The White administration sent us an ordinance for $14 million for the Recreation Division, which is more money than has been put into that division in the last 50 years. That, along with the Commissioner, Wayne Moss, they've brought the Recreation Division a long way. The commitment is there. The continuing commitment is there for our kids.
Well, I think it's tremendous. As we look now in our neighborhoods, we see rehabilitated playgrounds, things happening again with the parks, you know, trying to get some things going in the Recreation Division. And we know that that doesn't just happen by ourselves alone, and we appreciate your support.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
Thanks for coming by, Councilman.
Okay, you're more than welcome.
Okay, when we come back, I'll be back with Adam Mendoza and some of the halftime stats and the start of the second half Junior All-Star Game.
Dad, isn't this the block you lived on when you were a boy?
Yes, our house was right over there. And over there is the corner where I used to buy ice cream sodas.
Do you wish things could be like they used to be?
No, I wish things could be better than they used to be.
Good neighborhoods and cities don't happen by accident. They take planning. Clevelanders are working together to create a better city, and you can get involved. Call us today. A message from the American Planning Association.
You're never too old to learn. I never had the opportunity, and now that I have, I'm going.
Once you've taken the first step, it becomes more and more easier every day.
Yeah, I just want to be able to come home, and if I feel like it, to pick up the newspaper and read it.
You need to be educated to teach your children. It makes you feel proud of yourself, like, hey, I did it.
If you call this hotline program and get you on the right road.
Literacy. You won't ever be the same. Call the hotline at 987-4911.
Plant manager. On the job, he discharged factory wastes into the river in violation of the Federal Clean Water Act. He got a year and a day in prison. Scrap metal dealer. Violated federal law by dumping toxic waste, just doing his job. He also did 6 months in prison, 2.5 years probation, and a $500 fine. Automobile repair shop owner. Falsified reports about vehicle emission controls conforming to the Clean Air Act. 20 days in prison, 5 years probation, 2,500 hours of community labor. Anti-pollution laws are laws we can live with. They're there to protect human life and health. Violating them can make an everyday citizen into an everyday criminal. No job is worth it. A public service message from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
What is a man? A man stands up for himself. A man looks you in the eye. A man shares his strength. A man protects his child. If you're a man with a woman who's pregnant, help her get the care she needs now, because if you don't, for help, just call.
Welcome back to the Fairfax Recreation Center. Adam Mendoza along with Tim Wells. And at the halftime, looking at some of these halftime statistics, the American team was out 28-12 in this first half of action. They're shooting 58% from the field to 25%. That's been the big difference in this ball game. Free throws pretty much even, 71% for the American team, 67% for the national team. Rebounds 12-7. The American team has the advantage. Turnovers, a lot of turnovers in this ball game. 17 total turnovers. The Americans with 9, the national team with 8. Team fouls 6 and 7. Really, fouls haven't played a big part in this ball game. Free throw shooting, we talked about that earlier, has been very good. Both teams shooting over a 60% clip, but the field goal percentage is the big key, 58% to 25%, and it showed in this ball game.
Well, it's definitely going to play a factor for the Nationals. You're going to shoot that low percentage, you need to get on the boards, and that didn't happen. But hey, second half, I look for the turnovers to go down. The kids are getting more accustomed to playing with each other.
Bigsby is the leading scorer for the American team with 7 points, and he came up with the 7 points in a 2-minute span coming off the bench. For the national team, the leading scorer, we have 2 players with leading scores, Galindez with 3 and Shropshire with 3. As we are just about set for this second half of action here for the Junior Division All-Star game. The American team dressed in black, the national team in green. Starting off the second half of action, the American team will have the basketball to start off this second half. Out on the floor, McLaren. Also, number 35 will be Don Johnson, as McLaren will inbound the basketball to start off this second half of action, and quickly the national team comes up with the big steal. And with the basketball is Allen on the baseline. Tries to go, that one was swatted away partially. And here comes the American team down the floor, give and go. McLaren puts it up, that doesn't fall. But there is a foul on the play, as once again, we started off the first half with a lot of running action, starting off the second half with a lot of running action. Allen will be called with the foul. And at the free throw line will be McLaren. Or make that number 35.
Don Johnson.
Don Johnson.
Coach, I asked Coach, I said, hey, tell me about Don Johnson. He's a physical, good rebounder, and he's a Charles Oakley type player, and you can see with that frame, he was right on the money. Big Don Johnson.
Picks up the basket here on the free throw. It is now a 29-12 lead for the American team. Just underway in the second half of action. Had the lane all alone, and in for the basket is number 20, Mike Shropshire. Shropshire has 5 points. Well, he had the lane wide open. The lane was just absolutely open. Turnover. Here we go. Shropshire dumps it off. Nice give and go. That one was swatted away. Oh my. Where did Bolden come around for the shot block? Once again, Johnson couldn't get it. Good effort there. Very good hustle by the American team. Charles Bigsby into the ball game. 12:32 to go in this ball game, 29-14. The American team out on top, and we're going to have, looks like a foul underneath, away from the basketball.
Fouls on number 23, Jordan Simmons.
Jordan Simmons getting called with the foul underneath.
His second personal
There you see the young man, 6 foot, 14-year-old, and still will grow. Out from the outside, that one did not connect. We're gonna have a foul out on top. And the foul is on number 35. That's Don Johnson.
There's that Charles Oakley type play. Little push and shove underneath. Played some football on the line in Muni and runs track at school. Don Johnson from Lonnie Burton.
That one will have an up and down. Tried to go up for the shot. That was number 54, James Hatton, but got caught up in the defense and couldn't get the ball away. Bigsby with the basketball. Nice dribble drive inside the lane, puts it up. Circus shot doesn't fall, but I think he'll go to the line as they call the foul out from the top. Bigsby has some great moves with the basketball, especially going to the hole. When he goes one-on-one, He's just got that quick first step.
Well, you know, when you're shooting the basketball and you're the third leading scorer in the playoffs, then you're shooting 81% from the free throw line, and you have the athletic ability, you can see why they chose him as most valuable player of the championship series.
Bigsby at the free throw line, misses on the free throw attempt. He's got 7 points in the ballgame, the leading scorer for both teams. There you see the young man eyeing it, and he gets the second one. He's got 8 points, 29-14, the American team out on top. Dribbling up with the basketball is Williams, working it out to the right side. Nice pass inside, good fake, puts up. That one's just a little bit too hard off the glass, and that one was swatted away by Bolden. I believe that's Bolden's second shot block. He's just coming around, and he's doing a great job. Tried to get it inside, couldn't go. Good defense there by the national team.
Well, we can see a packed house here at Fairfax Recreation Center, enjoying junior basketball all-star action.
30-14, the American team out on top, and it's been a very entertaining ballgame. We've seen a lot of good talent out on this floor. They try to work it inside, turnaround jumper, that one doesn't fall. And a couple of times that Frank Stump has had the basketball, hasn't been able to really put it in the hole. Don Johnson gets it, that one stolen away. Here comes Charles Williams, left side, Bigsby tries to swat, and he just fouled Williams going to the hole. So the foul will be on number 31, Charles Bigsby.
Foul on number 31.
As we've got wholesale substitutions coming into this ball game now.
Well, you know, we talked to the coach that handles Charles Williams from Central. And, you know, I asked him, well, what's he really like? He said, listen, this kid is a little guy, but he's got a big heart. You can see there how he got knocked down, came right back up here. Has great potential to be a good star down the road.
Connects on the free throw at 5'1". Never underestimate the little kid. The other night, I went and saw Earl Boykins out of Cleveland Central Catholic playing against Melvin Levitt, about 6'3". Boykins at 5'5", schooled him, scored 34 points in a regional basketball game. The little guards can play. Watch out for them. They're little sneaky kids. They can play. Try to work it out on the right side, and going to the hole, or trying to go to the hole, was Craig Hubbard, but he gets fouled as his attempt was not.
25.
Jerry Johnson getting called for the foul.
Personal foul.
That's his second personal foul. Good crowd on here, like you were saying, Tim.
Yeah, recreation basketball is very popular in the city of Cleveland, and it's great to see that the many moms and dads that have come out to support their youngsters.
Full court pressure now, changing up a little bit on the defense. Still both teams working that man-to-man. Williamson going in. Can't get the handle, now gets it underneath the Stump, who puts up the little 5-foot jumper, couldn't go. Schultz got the rebound, but it was a turnover. Once again, they tried going for the hole. That time couldn't get the basket. Stump once again, finally he connects. So Stump gets his first 2 points of the game after a couple attempts. He's got to eye up the basket a little bit more when he goes to the hole. Stump is going to get called for the foul. Stump is very aggressive on the offensive boards, and that you don't see a lot of. Offensive rebounds. Usually defenses get in and block out, but Stump was able to do a very good job in getting the basket. And going to the free throw line for the American team is number 13, James Taylor.
He's right here from Fairfax Recreation Center. He's an 8th grader at Margaret Spellacy. He also is doing the academic side of his life with merit roll and perfect attendance in school. That's what we like to hear.
Very much so, perfect attendance. That's one of the big keys, especially when you're growing up in the city of Cleveland, going to school, getting that education, and heading on to bigger and better things. One thing coming up for the city of Cleveland, especially for the Cleveland schools, is that big school levy.
Yes.
7:45 to go in the second half in this ball game. 31-18, the Americans out on top. Balls wasn't controlled there by Charles Williams, so the American team will have the basketball. Craig Hubbard will bring it over the timeline to the right side. Goes left side to Carter. Carter inside, that one puts up and he will be fouled, and it's just a matter of who the foul is called on. It could be Jose Galendez. No, they're going to give it on Marshall Dillon is going to get called with the foul.
First personal foul.
Also coming up, talking about the senior basketball league. You have the junior division here, but there's also the senior league.
Right. They'll after this year, these kids will graduate, many of them, into our senior basketball league. It's for 15 to 17-year-olds. And if there's any youngsters that are out there, or teenagers, I should say, looking for a place to play, we're starting our senior basketball league. They can't turn 18 before May 17th. They are not allowed to play junior high or high school basketball this year. They should call their nearest rec center because their league's coming up next.
Long range bomb, that one just falls short, as I believe that was Galendez trying from the outside. He's actually taken the most, and that's really important, getting into the leagues, having a good opportunity to play some basketball. Going into the hole was Carter, but he was fouled on the way to the basket. And the foul will go on number 22. That's Michael Atkins.
You know, when we asked Mike before the game, I said, hey, Mike, who's your favorite team and players? Now, why does the big guys always take the big players? His team's the Orlando Magic, and the favorite player, who else but the Shaq?
Shaquille O'Neal. He did some damage on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Atkins comes, or Carter makes the basket. He's got 4 points, all coming from the free throw line. Able to go to the hole and getting the free throw attempts, and that's his 5th point, all from the charity stripe. 35-18, the American team is out on top. Trying to dribble drive through 2 men was number 32. That was Greg Allen, but the foul will go against number 13, James Taylor. 5:52 to go in this ball game. 35-18, entertaining ball game. We've seen some talent, and you look down the line, looking in the high schools, you may see 1 or 2 of these kids playing for a good program here in the city.
Well, before the games, when we talked in the pregame, we met 2 outstanding players, Damon Miller of St. Ed's, who played right at Corey Recreation, and Armin Gage, who's with their city champion John Adams team, started over at Lonnie Burton. So again, a lot of these kids that we see today will become future high school players.
35-20 to lead as the 15. They try to cut it down as the national team going strong, and they've been able to get some second and third shot opportunities. Comparing this first and second half, the American team has actually done very well in getting to the basket and scoring.
Will the owner of a Bates vehicle license plate number NRN 105.
4:50 to go in this ball game. I think there's just 1 too many players out on the floor. They're just waiting to see who's going to take the ball out of bounds. Now they had 1 too many. Sitting out is Makir Bradley. Trying to work baseline inside. That time Schultz, very good defense, knocking the ball out of bounds.
Well, you know, every coach likes them great free throw shooters when the game's on the line. And it's a credit to both teams. One team shooting 71%, another team 75.
Those are some great numbers. Coming up with a shot, and the basket was Larry Ellington. So Ellington gets in the books for his first 2. Ball is stolen. No good as they tried to kiss that one off the glass. Off-balance shot, stolen once again, up and in. The basket is good by Mike Shropshire. So Shropshire now has 7 points. 35-24, they're cutting into that lead with under 4 minutes to go. At the half, it was 28-12, so the national team has been able to cut in. Going to the basket was number 13, James Taylor, but he was fouled on the way. And these kids are not shy in going to the hole, even if they're going into the tall timbers underneath.
You know, some of the things that we really have going on, and a lot of these kids are going to go into this tournament that we're getting ready to run. There were 90 basketball teams from all over the area have come in to join. Akron, Canton, Shaker, Euclid, Lakewood, Cleveland, East Cleveland, Wise, Boys and Girls Clubs. They're bringing their best teams in. So a lot of the kids that we see here today are going to be squaring off again with their teams in the next week or so, trying to win the Greater Cleveland Championship.
when you have 90 teams, you're going to see some great basketball talent. 90 teams, that's incredible. That's bigger than the NCAA's. Now, what will the format of that tournament be?
Well, the way it worked is in some of the divisions we ended up with 32 teams, so they'll play like in pools of 8. There'll be double elimination. They'll come out. We'll have the 4 winners square off. And our appreciation has to go out to some of the schools that have stepped forward and helped us, like St. Ignatius, Cleveland Central Catholic. Let us use the use of their facilities so that we can make this happen.
Well, Ian Schultz, there you see him, rejected one. And we've seen some very good defensive plays, especially at this age. You don't see that type of defense, especially with the way they're blocking shots. And these kids are just cleaning the glass. They'll get that Windex award of cleaning the glasses clean. Basket, make it the free throw by Michael Atkins is up and good. So Atkins checks into the books with his first point of the game. A couple of changes in there by the American team. 36-25. 11-point lead, and you were saying some of the schools, Central Catholic using the facilities there, St. Ignatius, and that's one thing that is really nice, that you get the cooperation from other area facilities. Here comes Bigsby to the line. Nice move, but couldn't get it to fall through. All right, Bigsby just ran down the court like greased lightning, and he made a nice little move. Saw the defense on him, adjusted a little bit, but just couldn't get the layup to fall.
You know, one of the things that we really need to mention here, Adam, is we're looking at a lot of our kids play, and before, when we talked to the high school coaches, we talked about what do you look for when a kid's going to come to you, and many of these kids are going to be coming to them.
Bigsby with the basket. He's got 10. Yeah, what is the relationship between the coaches in the area high schools and the department?
Well, the coaches Schmatzer indicated to us earlier that a lot of them, they look for athletic ability and attitude, but more importantly, it's academics. And what we're trying to strive to our kids is, hey, look at every program we do, we want to look at academics and attitude, not just athletic ability.
Because it's to be a well-rounded person, you've got to have not just the athletic ability, but also the academic ability and that heart to study in school. The foul will be called on number 50, Frank Stump. Rebounds, the American team outrebounding the Nationals 23-15, and it has showed, especially in the scorebook, 38-25 with 1:19. Both teams in a bonus situation, so a one-on-one situation when each team gets fouled, and they'll go to the line at a one-on-one situation. At the line for the American team is number 43, Tavares Bolden, who started in the ball game. Got the bounce off the back of the rim and in.
Tavares is a 9th grader at Glenville High School. He also was involved in the championship game for Corey Recreation.
That one was a little bit too hard off the back of the rim, but Stump comes up with the basketball.
Toss to a break, guys.
Oh, with 1:14 to go in this ball game, we're going to have a timeout on the floor. 39-25, the American team is leading over the Nationals. You're watching TV35 Sports. Welcome back to Fairfax Recreation Center. Adam Mendoza along with Tim Wells bringing you to the All-Star Game in Junior Boys in the City of Cleveland Division Recreation Department. And so far, 39-25, the American team is out on top. We've been talking about some of the programs, an upcoming 90-team tournament. The number 90 teams, that is a lot of teams, and I'm sure that's a big task ahead for the department.
Yeah, and to really make it happen, we're going to have to rely on our rec instructors, our managers, everybody to kind of step forward in the next 2 weeks to make this go. And we're ready to go, and we're kind of looking forward to the challenge.
Turnover once again, but Johnson coming up with the basketball. Goes out on top. They work it to the side. Nice move, but took one little baby step, and he's going to get called for the walk, and that is Jason Floyd. There you see Floyd making a nice quick move, but a little bit too quick. Just under a minute to go in the ball game. Drives the lane, and the national team just couldn't get a bucket for a couple of minutes, and Johnson with his wide body getting the rebound, but that one's taken away to the lane, no good, and once again the national team getting the basket, and that will be Mike Shropshire. Shropshire with 9 points. steal once again. Quickly 11 points for Shropshire, 39-27. Just under 30 seconds, the defense by the national team got really tough, and you're looking for the team from the Nationals calling a timeout with just 30 seconds to go, and it's a 10-point lead.
Well, Adam, why we got a delay, we would really like to send word out to the teenagers that are looking at this game, that are looking for a place to play. 15 to 17-year-olds. The Senior Basketball League will be starting up in April. If they're interested, call your rec center. To be eligible, you cannot turn 18 before May 17th. You could not have played in your junior high or high school team. These are for kids, teenagers that have not played any school ball and that meet those age requirements. So they should call the nearest rec center, or they can call us at City Hall at 664-2323 and ask for Nate Mumphrey.
And that's a good way of, if they didn't play on their school team and they're looking towards next year, of possibly trying out, getting in there, getting some work and defining the skills, even if they didn't want to play. It's just a way of the kids getting involved and doing things with the rec centers. A lot of, before, that used to be the place to be, and sometimes that went away, and now that's a good place to learn some fundamentals and some good values there. Johnson has the basketball. He's going to air it from downtown, back of the rim, no good. From a big kid, he had a nice shot from the outside. Stolen once again, under 5 seconds to go. Larry Reed, that one doesn't fall through. And that is it for this ball game, as the American team wins it 41-29. Very entertaining ball game in this one, Tim.
Well, you know, it's a credit to the coaches, the kids, the parents, and families. You can see in game one, it really is impressive when we see the parents coming out for the teenage kids, giving them the support they need. You know, our special thanks has to go out to Cleveland City councilmen that have come out and supported this program. We see their T-shirts. These kids will get to keep these shirts and they'll wear them throughout the city of Cleveland.
And a very good ball game as we look to the leading scores. Bigsby with 10 for the American team. The leading scorer overall, Mike Shropshire, 11 points, and he got the last 6 points in the last couple of minutes of the ball game, and so he did a very nice job as we look at the scoring rundown. Hubbard with 2, Tavares Bolden with 4 for the American team, Ian Schultz with 4, Bigsby with 10, Johnson with 6, Carter with 5, Simmons with 2, McLaren with 3, and let's see, also number 13 in the books for the American team, that is James Taylor with 1 point. For the national team, Hatton with 2, Frank Stump with 2, Shropshire with 11, Williams with 3, Galindez with 3, Taylor with 1, Ellington with 2, and Atkins with 1. The final score, 41-29. The American team wins the Junior Division All-Star game. And when we come back, we'll have more action. You're watching the Junior Division All-Star game here on TV35 Sports.
Frankie, you've been in there for hours. Take the dog outside and play, for Pete's sake.
Hey, couch potato, what are you doing just sitting there? Time for the real game.
Hello, everybody. This is Al McCoy with Mr. Hart courtside, and it's a nail-biter.
Well, it looks like Slim Tim got his bell rung by Big Max Platt.
Frankie the Flash has the ball midcourt.
Big Max is on the attack.
It's a dribble drive, leg splitter. He's got 2 more to beat.
Oops.
He's up.
Look at that hang time.
Slam. The Suns win. The Suns win. And the crowd goes bananas.
Don't be a spud. Exercise.